Okay. Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. We're going to get started for real this time. We are now going to move to the Churning Mists. We are going to be going for Soul of the Martyr. Please tell me that audio is still working, everybody. Is the audio still working? Okay, good. Alright, cool. So we're going to head to Churning Mists. You can please teleport to Moth to Landlord. Here I'm. Oh, you good. You got purse. Yeah, we should. There's an expansion test for purse tonight, too, just to make sure that everything is working. Or not working. Sorry, I'm still on technical brain. There's an expansion for Purse of Riches tonight to see if it has a wider conditional window. That's what I'm trying to come up with. Than what it currently has, because what it currently has, everyone will kind of agree, kind of sucks. What time is that tonight? I think it's 6:50 Eastern. Something like that. Let me look. Because we have a hot second here. What's today's date? The 17th? January 17th, 2026, 6:56 p.m. Rain into clouds. And that's for Eastern Standard Time. For East Coast US. But yeah, we are fully expecting it to have an expansion window, because it currently sits in a 5% into 5%, yes, Eastern Standard US time, so like New York City time zone. Because right now where it currently stands, it's in what we call like a 5 to 5 transition. It's a 5% chance weather into another 5% chance weather at a specific time, which leads to some crazy downtime. Like this year, it would have like a 92-day downtime if there's no expansion. And they've never done anything that extreme before, nor do we think that they ever would. So we're very, very much expecting there to be an expansion. Probably, we'll know by the end of the month. So, all right, now that I can get myself settled here, I turn up my audio a little bit more. That one. This one? Okay. I might be capping out my own self, but that's fine. Okay. Everyone, I'm going to push a button really quick. Please tell me if you stop hearing me after this point. Can you still hear me? I really hope you can still hear me. I hope. Yes? No? This is the last time I'll ask. Okay, good. Sweet. That's working, which means I might be able to salvage some of this footage. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Let me bring up my notes here. Okay, so Soul of the Martyr. This is a notable fish in the fact that it has one of the longest bite times of any fish. It is, I think, like Soul of the Martyr, Deep Haunt, and Ambling Caltrop are the top 3 longest biting fish, and they all have bites that take over 45 seconds. So what we are going to start by doing is, if you have giant cranefly, which you should, go ahead and just cast out. So if I set the bait, go ahead and cast out with giant cranefly, and what you're going to want to do is catch a dragon soul. Dragon soul is a very common bite on giant cranefly, and so we want to remove that bite from the fishing hole. So we're going to use surface slap once we get it, and then use chum, and then that's it. That's all you have to do for prepping. Now, Soul of the Martyr itself is a bit of a peculiar fish. It is a very large fish, like physically if you look at the oomph size of it, it is a big fish. It should, by all definitions, be probably like a powerful hookset fish. However, it's not. It's a precision hookset fish. So what we're going to be using is Modestler, and by slapping that dragon soul, we now make the precision hookset fish far less likely to bite than powerful hookset fish. And that means that Modestler now becomes very useful. So in 4 minutes, when the window opens, so that'll be about 4 a.m., we will cast out. We will use Modestler up to 3 times, or until you see that message like, you have a feeling you've attracted a small-sized fish. You can do that, and then you just wait until you get a bite. If it is a ferocious bite, which is those 3 exclamation points, you will use hook, you will reel it in, and congratulations, you've caught Soul of the Martyr. If not, you use rest, and then you cast back out and use chomp. Quick question about intuition. If a fish window closes but you still have intuition for, let's say, 3 more minutes, you still have a chance to get the fish, or no? No, you don't. If intuition alone doesn't mean that you have a chance to catch the fish, you also have to have the correct conditions to catch the fish. There are some fish that the intuition fish, so say, it's a good example, Warden of the Seven Hues and Kuno the Killer, both of those are always available, but you need the intuition, and that's what becomes limited. So in that case, if you have the intuition, but like say you're at Warden of the Seven Hues and the green prism fish window closes, and that's it, you still have a chance. However, if it's a fish like Aquamaton that's only available for a certain period of time, or Stethacanthus, you can only have a chance to catch that fish during its conditions, regardless of you'll be able to catch it during its window if you have intuition, and if that window closes, even if you still have intuition, there's no chance. It would be very bad if the windows are Cloud Serene, Rain, but not Cloud Serene. That would be a first, yes. I will say, if you also have Fish Eyes, you can totally use Fish Eyes right now, and cast out. But the window's up in a minute, so I wouldn't necessarily rush. I'm totally capping out on my audio. Okay, so as 401 comes up, we are going to cast out, and then we are going to use Modestler up to 3 times. Because we're also using Modestler, you can cast out at 4 a.m., and by the time you're done with your 3rd cast, you're outside of that danger zone with server ticks. But if you want to be safe or just do it as normal, cast out at 401 and use Modestler. So it's 401, I've cast it out, I'm going to use Modestler up to 3 times. And then I just wait for a fish to bite. This is the message you want to be waiting for. You have a feeling the next bite will land a small-jawed fish. If you see that, you stop using the lure, because if you use lure again, it cancels it out and you lose that guarantee. Whenever you see that message, a fish of the lure's associated hook set is going to bite. Like, it will be the only thing. It's like a weird, almost like a super slap in a way, where none of the powerful hook set fish have a chance to bite. It's a very interesting mechanic. That's fine. Oh, someone's got a bite. And basically, this is the entire window. You're just going to be casting out, using chum, using modest lure, waiting for a bite. If it is a ferocious bite, then you use hook. If not, then you use rest. Now, I have a very long bite happening right now, which makes me think that it is, sort of making me think that it was Soul of the Martyr, but it was not. Oh, that looks like it was a blue Medusa. For low-level players, is Patience 1 worth using? Yes. Especially if you're trying to mooch, you should always be using it. And then again, once you just get a ferocious bite, you try and hook it, but in this case it slips. But yes, you should be using Patience 1. Unlucky on that bite, Sim. Yeah, the lures do add a little bit of like a new layer to slap chum fish. I know this morning when I was prepping for setting this up, I was trying to figure out like how do I, what would be the best, and I was actually doing some math here on Soul of the Martyr just to make sure that lures were in fact what you need. And Dragon Soul is such a dominant bite on the precision hook set that by just slapping it, you make it go from like the most dominant to like super low chance. Alright, you got about 90 seconds or so left in the window. It will end at... sorry, about a minute left in the window, excuse me. It will end at 6 a.m. Yeah, I haven't really figured out a way to fix that. I've had a lot of people be like, hey, I hear the ferocious bites and it throws me off with the fishing noise and it throws me off. I kind of almost want to, like, see if there's like a way to fix that. But I don't think which allows that type of streaming, like multi-channel stuff. That'd be cool though if I could have like it just like picks out the game audio, and then you can just like mute it on your end. Alright, as I get near the end of this window here, I'm going to be careful with my lure use, because I don't want to use it after 6. That's a 559 lure use, so that'll be fine. But basically, anytime you use lure, it re-rolls from whatever that current point in time's fishing window is. So if you use that at 6:01, it's not going to be Soul of the Martyr, because it's not there. Alright, we got a bite, but we did not actually catch it, which is unfortunate. I did hear a lot of bites happening, but congratulations to Lux and Datnoy for catching Soul of the Martyr for sure. Yeah, and Wordnay just had the bite and it slipped. Yeah, Denim in the corner here, that's Philip, our little chat protector. He's a little lump fish. Alright, so for everybody else who is here, if you're following along, we are actually not going to go that far. We're going to head over to this pool over here in the Churning Mists as well. We're going to go for Vidofnir, which is a far easier, far more straightforward fish. Hold on to those giant crane flies, because we will be needing those in a little bit. Love that little guy. I think I picked him up at that. I think he was in the latest Mog Tome, or Mog Tome event. I just picked him up. Someone is saying my audio. Probably do need to turn this down a little bit more. Okay. So for Vidofnir, we're going to start with Brute Leech, and you're going to use Ambitious Lure, again, up to 3 times, or until you see that unique message come out. Because in this fishing hole, there are only 2 powerful hook-set fish. There is Vidofnir and the other one, which is the other fish, not another Vidofnir. What we're going to do is we're going to catch that other powerful hook-set fish, and then we're just going to use Surface Slap and Chum ahead of the window, and then we're just going to wait until the window opens. And once the window opens, we'll cast out, and then we'll just use Ambitious Lure exclusively, and it will make Vidofnir bite way, way more often. If you want to collect the Noontide Oscar, you are welcome to do so, but you will slap it, and then use Chum. And then just wait. We're just going to wait for our GP to regen a little bit. You got another 2 minutes. Okay. Oh, now I'm really loud. Sorry, hold on. I'm getting my audio reset back up. Okay. Can everyone still hear me okay? Am I a little bit louder? Am I too loud? Please let me know. Okay, cool. I am louder, but not too loud. Perfect. I just had to re-add some filters in, so now I have noise suppression, so it shouldn't be as sounding. And added some gain, so it's a little bit louder, and I don't have to blast out my own eardrums on my end. Okay, so this window opens in less than a minute at 8 a.m. When the window opens, you're going to cast out right after at 8:01, and then you're going to use Ambitious Lure up to 3 times. Because again, Vidofnir is one of 2 powerful hookset fish, and we just slapped the other one, so it's the only powerful hookset fish. And by using a lure, we're putting a ton more. How to put this? We're basically making it far more likely for Vidofnir to bite, and making it far less likely for all the other weak biting fish to bite. Alright, so I'm going to cast out, and then use Ambitious Lure. Zin has already caught it. That's how easy this is going to be. 1, 2, 3. I mean, we're all getting bites. And then you're just going to use hook to reel it in. It's that easy with Vidofnir. This is one of those fish that got, I don't want to say slaughtered, but it got real easy after level 100 and the lure skills. So at this point, it becomes less of a, are you going to catch it, and more of a, when will you catch it? Okay, so I want to talk a little bit while we're here and everyone's fishing. I want to talk a little bit about how these lures are working on the back end, like kind of in the background. Each stack of lure so each stack of lure increases the likelihood of its associated hookset fish biting. So what I want you all to imagine is you have a bag of marbles, and each marble represents a fish. So say one fish has 5 marbles, another has 10, and another has 1. Maybe that's Vidofnir. Maybe Vidofnir is that 1 marble. What ends up happening is whenever you use a lure, you multiply the number of marbles that fish, of the associated hookset has. So if that Vidofnir is just that 1 marble, if you use Ambitious Lure once, now you have 1.5 marbles. If you do it twice, now you have 3 marbles. And if you do it all 3 times, you have, it's like somewhere between 5 or 6. I don't think we ever actually nailed it down. So that doesn't make the fish 6 times more likely to bite, because there's all the other marbles there as well. So if we have one fish has 10 marbles, another fish has 5, and now our Vidofnir has 6, that's 6 out of 21 rather than 1 out of 16. So that's whenever we're using lures, we're not necessarily manipulating percentages, we're kind of just manipulating the weights, because that's how all these fishing holes are set up, is with weights. Oh. Jager Hammond got Go Big or Go Home 1. Congratulations. That's your first, I believe that's the first big fish. Now you only have another 200 more to go. So, okay. So you have 2 minutes left in this window, and we'll be moving on to the next fish after this. That's true. There could be, it's like 300-ish now fish. 208, no, we're at 289 was end-of-end walker. So yeah, we're over 300 now. Alright, so TRM's asking, what situations would it actually be bad to use lures? There's a few situations where you wouldn't want to use lures. One where a fishing hole is predominantly going to be the hook set that you would be using. So let me see if I have an example. Yeah, I should. 1 sec. I'm muting myself, but this is intentional this time. Wait, I can't mute myself because it's on a different audio track. No, 1 second. I'm back. I'm assuming I can still be heard. But I'm going to... Let me connect something to my computer really quick, and then we'll be off to the races to answer your question. It'll be way easier to do it this way. Alright, you have 30 seconds, by the way, left in Vidofnir. Hold on, things are gonna be weird for a second. Sweet. Alright, that's there. Figure if we already had a ton of issues early on, what would be the problem with just adding more potential issues early on? No, I don't want you there. I want you windowed. I want you over here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to head over to our next spot, now that the Vidofnir window, and then I'm going to answer your question, TRM. I would totally clear out your inventory if you can. All right, we're going to head over to Camp Cloudtop next. Oop. And we're going to go for Inkfish. Now, Inkfish isn't up for another 10 minutes, so if you need a quick break, now is a good time to do it. Go grab some water, get up, stretch, grab a snack. And we're going to be heading over to basically anywhere in this area over here. I think, say right around here. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna go to that flag. Right over here. In this little cliffy area. Or in the water, I don't mind. You can do whatever you want. But before we get prepped for that, TRM, I want to answer your question. So, when we have... a second here. Boop. Clear it. Clear it. Game. Ding. You just don't want to work with me today, do you? OBS is just fighting me today. Okay. So, when I was talking about the lures, the way that the lures end up working is, imagine a whole bunch of those marbles, right? So let's say, if I clean myself up here a little bit... a little bit smaller because I was using it for something else earlier. Okay. Let's imagine you have a fishing hole, and each of these marbles represent a fish on that associated hook set, right? So we have, what is that, 12? This is 12 fish for precision hook set. I know, don't yell at me. And then we have, ignore that because it's a bug with the plugin that I use. And let's just say we only have 5 fish on the powerful hook sets. If I use Ambitious Lure, I now multiply or add more green marbles whenever I use Ambitious Lure. So each time I use Ambitious Lure, I just add more and more and more and more. And so this is how we calculate those chances. We look at the total number of marbles, and then we just do your basic percentage. Whatever that is, that's what, 12, 18 out of 23. More likely or not, that's going to be a precision hook set fish. Conversely, if I use Ambitious Lure, it's going to be something a little different, where we just add more to the powerful hook set side, which means now it's more likely to bite, and each stack adds its own value to this. Right? So we're following. I hope everyone's following me here so far. So what will end up happening, or when it's good to use Ambitious Lure, is in situations like this, where you have less fish on a specific hook set. Find a color that won't blend here. You have more, or you have less of the target hook set. So say maybe you want, whatever, maybe you want that powerful hook set fish. Maybe it's in there. This is when you would want to use Ambitious Lure, because this will give you a higher chance of getting more of those powerful hook set fish. You wouldn't want to use it here. You wouldn't want to use Modest Lure here because it's already a good chance to. Now, there's a few exceptions to this. Like we see with Punity Pain and the Hanu Peacock Bass. The powerful hook set fish should be, what is it? Giant Trahaya, Helubane, Bronze Pleco, and Hunu Peacock Bass. They're actually the dominant one. So that fishing hole looks a bit more like this. Oops. Ignore that, because it's just going to yell at me. Pretend this is the powerful hook set fish. It's going to look more like this, because there's a ton of those powerful hook sets. Compared to precision hook set fish, where there's like maybe this many. I don't know why it's doing that, whatever. But because this ends up being like a 1 in 4 chance, it's a very unfortunate looking thing. Because this ends up being like a 1 in 4 chance and we're limited on time and stuff, we end up using Ambitious Lure to basically knock out the chance of this biting. That is one case of using the Ambitious Lure when it's not the dominant size. You wouldn't typically do this. Another time when you wouldn't use lures is if it is the only hook set for the entire fishing hole. So like Long Mirror Lake, someone mentioned that Aelid Skan was an example. All of Long Mirror Lake is just going to be precision hook set fish, the whole thing. So if you use Modest Lure, it's just going to, well, do nothing. But we use it to reroll, so we know if Aelid Skan will only bite after a certain amount of time, and it hasn't bit by then, we can use Modest Lure and have another chance at it. That's a whole other lesson, like a whole other theory that we can get into later, but for the most part, you would never use lure if the only bite type in the hole is the one that you'd be using lure for. So those are kind of a few things. I know I kind of just rambled through that because I didn't prepare for that. But those are some of the examples of when you wouldn't use lures. hope that answered something. Okay. No idea. Thank you for that follow. Okay. Now let's talk about Inkfish and take some of those things that we just learned. For Inkfish, we're going to be using Brute Leech once again. And we're going to cast out and we're going to use Ambitious Lure again. Because Inkfish is another powerful hookset fish. And there is only, I think like maybe there's 2 this time around. There's only like 1 or 2 other powerful hookset fish compared to a bunch of other precision hookset fish. So I am only going to use Ambitious Lure until I get a powerful hookset fish, and then I'm going to reel in that, use Surface Slap, chum, and then wait for the window again. Slurp, thank you for that follow as well. And Apophenia. Basically, Bubble Eye, or not Bubble Eye, sorry, that's the fish we just caught. Inkfish and Vidofnir are both very similar in style, and their fishing hole is set up very similarly. Though technically this one has like a mooch in it. So your approach to Inkfish and Vidofnir are exactly the same. You'll Ambitious Lure, slap the other Ambitious Lure fish, and then just use Ambitious Lure the whole way through. If I remember correctly, Inkfish is a little bit more slipperier than Vidofnir, so it might not be as straightforward of a catch, but it should be almost as reliable when it comes to biting. Do you think the longer the window of a big fish, the harder it is to get? I remember there's a fish with like a window of 1 hour. Is that 1 hour real time or 1 hour Eorzea time? Okay. Yeah, some fish... it's a little bit difficult to answer at this point because Dawntrail did change things up a little bit. So fish that would typically have been difficult to catch aren't as difficult anymore, even though they have long times. I think Opabinia has a minimum of a 23-minute window. That's real-time window. And it is now probably one of the easier legendary fish to catch. It used to be a pain in the butt back in Evan's Ward. Now... I think the length of time for a window doesn't necessarily imply how hard it is. I think the length of the window dictates more about how you're going to be managing your GP and the approach that you're going to take. Fish like Rime Pike can be up for 23 minutes, 46 minutes. But, oh, sorry. Windows open, use Ambitious Lure. Caught me monologuing. Fish like Rime Pike can be up for a while, and they're not necessarily hard, but they are slippery. So I think the better way of looking at it is if it's a longer window fish, it's either going to be rarer biting, or it's going to be slipperier. But it's not necessarily harder, if that makes sense. All right, we're seeing some catches are coming in. again, this is another one of those fish where it's less like, are you going to catch it? And it's more of when you're going to catch it. Like, how many slips is it going to take? I think I've had it slip on me 3 times once in like a single window, and then I caught it. But then again, on the other hand, I think I was fishing with somebody else's, you know, fish train, and I was just reeling that, like, I think I reeled in 5 or something like that. Okay. So we're just going to keep doing this for a little bit, and then we're going to go immediately from here. I would say try and hold on to some GP if you've already caught it. Let your GP regen. We're going to want it for the next fish. But you have about 2.5 minutes, so we're going to leave like right as this is done, and then we're going to head over to our next hole, which is the Upper Hathovia River in South Stroud. We're going to go for Vidofnir. Which is notably not a viper. I use a ton of GP. It's an eel, by the way. Vidofnir is an eel. A black eel, I believe, specifically. Which, if I remember correctly, I have to look this up. Yeah, okay, there it is. It's based off of a European eel, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So Vidofnir and a lot of the eels in the Shroud are actually based around European eels, because if I remember correctly, the Shroud is based on the Black Forest in Germany, right? Or it pulls a lot of inspiration from the Black Forest in Germany. Alright, you have 30 seconds left in your window. If you haven't caught an inkfish, then maybe start fishing. But we are going to go to South Shroud. Could be in the south. Come on, Fruity. We're going to head right over here. So if you want to teleport to Quarry Mill to get started, like right now, go ahead. And then head over to there next. I hate slippery fish more than not getting a bite at all. There's that one in the Azim Steppe. There's a lot of slippery fish in the Azim Steppe. Could you please be more specific? The unconditional will slip a lot, if that's what you're talking about. Adjusting my microphone because I had to all out of sorts after the tech issue earlier. Go ahead and pull out your butterworm if you don't already have some of those. You have like 6 minutes for this window, so if you need to go buy some, you can buy some in Gridania at the Tinkerer or the Junkmonger, or one of the two. I need to turn off this because it's... Oh, quiet, I know. I have a program that lets me turn my iPad into a third monitor, which is how I was doing all those drawings and why it was so buggy, because the cursor is weird. Okay, so we have 4 minutes for this window. So for Vit Viper, you're going to want to be using Butterworm, like mentioned, and you're going to cast out, and you're going to be looking specifically for a black eel. Black eel is the ideal slap, but if you were in a pinch, you could go with any of the other powerful hookset fish. So, yeah, really you're just going to go for that black eel. So because we have a little bit of time, I'm going to go try for that black eel. But again, if you were in a pinch, you could grab the trout, or I think it's a crab. What's the other one? Oh, black eel is not up for 30 seconds. Then wait until that, and then go for black eel. Thank you. I forgot black eel was time, but it does overlap sometimes with VIP. So now you can go for black eel. Not sure if we should all be holding metal poles. We're underneath a tree. There's nothing wrong with that. We survived Ramu. We can take a lightning bolt through the rod, I guess. Yeah, there's my black eel. I'm going to use Surface Slap and Chum, and then I'm just going to wait for the window to open here in under a minute. I did survive Ramu IRL twice at Gateway Fate. That was... Thank you for reminding me of that. That was... I had forgotten that had happened. Alright, when the window opens here in like 3 seconds here at the top of the Eorzean hour, you can cast out, and you can, if you want, use Ambitious Lure. This is one of those cases where if you want to use Ambitious Lure, it will help a bit. If you don't, then you're not really going to be missing much. Now, Viper does have a bit of notoriety for being rare. Damn it. But when you do catch it, you will catch it with hook. I'm going to keep reminding everyone you don't need to use patience to catch big fish. That's going to be a clip at some point. I'm going to go back and clip that if someone doesn't already. Just that one thing of, oh yeah, I just want to remind people, he has a notoriety of being rare. Bites. Very rare. It can be relatively rare if I'm looking at let me look at the data here. Let's see. Bite rates. Lower Lafayette River, or upper Lafayette. Sorry, lower river is Floating Boulder. That's later. Yeah, 4%, 4.4% bite chance. Yeah, now that we got this, I'm definitely not going to get Ruby. Anyways, Viper is closing in about 30 seconds. It's a very short window. But here at the top of the hour, it is going to close. And then we get to move on to the Ruby Dragon. Which is part of the reason why I'm streaming today. Is because I wanted to do the Ruby Dragon. Alright, the window is closed. Wait for any of the bites. Do not use lure. And then find yourself over in Kugane. Hello, Flanring. Welcome. Well, once we figured out my computer hates me, fishing's been okay. I think everyone's been having a good time with fishing. So, quick hot tip. If you are going to Ruby Dragon, use the Aetherite to go to the Ruby Price. Don't run to the portal. I've seen that a few times. I've done it myself. But anyways, go ahead and spread out here with Blue Bobbit. It is Ruby Dragon time. You have about 15 minutes to get started, so if you need your GP to regen, we're just going to prep first. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this. You can fish from up here. This is a valid fishing spot for if anyone ever wants to just have like the most weird places to go fishing. You can fish up on the towers. Okay, all we're going to do here is we're going to use Patience 2, and we're just going to build up 10 Angler's Art stacks. we're going to be needing those Angler's Art stacks for makeshift bait later on. You can also use Metal Spinner here to catch Coral Horse if you don't want to spend script bait. I know that for some folks, script bait can be a little challenging to get, or you just don't feel like gathering script. You can use Metal Spinner here to build your Angler's Art stacks specifically, but nothing else. Now, please let it go on the record that this is this character's first time at the Ruby price, as noted by the fact that it was just added to my log. So we're going to see if I can replicate my luck with Ruby this time that I did the first time that I went fishing for Ruby. I learned so much this stream. Good. Ooh, that was loud, sorry. Good. I'm glad to hear that people are learning things. It's part of the reason why I'm doing these streams. Yeah, there's a ton of spots. I think both the towers... Yeah, you can fish up there. I think that's a fun shot. Maybe I'll just do this. No one has vertigo. You can fish up in these towers. You can fish back here before the entrance back into Gane. I don't... Yeah, this rock you can stand on, this rock you can stand on, this rock you can stand on, that rock you can stand on. And then my personal favorite, you can fish into the Ruby Price all the way out here on that island. And I've done that a few times where you can just go stand underneath those trees. So you're going to keep using Patience to use your quarters if you have to. We have plenty of time. Just build up those 10 Angler's Art stacks, and then the very last thing that you're going to do is get a coral eel snake, and you're going to slap it and use chum. And use prize catch. That was the last thing. You need to use those 3 skills. But you don't have to use them all at once. You just have to make sure that you use them before midnight, which is in 10 minutes. Yep. Cures are very rude, but they're also not up right now, so if you're expecting them, don't. When you're getting near the end of your 10 Angler's Art stacks, you can use Ambitious Lure. Like, I'll just do this now for an example. You can use Ambitious Lure. This will make Glass Herring and Coral Eel Snake far more likely to bite. If you were using Metal Spinner before, you do not get Coral Eel Snake bites on Metal Spinner, so you need to switch back to Blue Bobbit. Oh, yeah, no, okay. Personal experience, totally valid. Now, I'm going to finish out my stacks here. When you're dealing with building Angler's Art stacks, sometimes you don't need to get 10 if you're only planning to use them for Thaliac's Favor, because Thaliac's Favor is only worth 3 Angler's Art stacks at this point. You don't necessarily need to go to 10 because you're just going to have that one thing left over. But in this case, we do go to 10 because we're going to be using makeshift bait. And I think what I'm going to do is actually stop here at 9, and I'll explain why in a second. When we catch our first cure, we're going to be using prize catch to catch a large size one. And that's going to give us our last Angler's Art stack anyways. So we can save a little bit of time, let our GP regen a bit more, and we'll be good to go. Adrian, yes, it is the Ruby window. And Flannery, yeah, that is Carbuncle Plushie of the Carbuncle Plushie Tracker. And the fish train development thing that we've been using. Okay, so I am now basically ready for the cure window at midnight. I have prize catch, I have surface slap on the coral eel snake, and I have chum, and I have 9 Angler's Art stacks. If you have 10, that's fine. You could potentially get away with 8, but really, if you're just, the safest bet is just to go for 10 if you don't fully know what you're doing yet. And while this goes, I'm going to continue to fix my OBS. Because it's still kind of been broken. Cool. Gigapockers is asking, do we know what to overmeld on the rest of the fishing rod now? No. We don't have that yet. There is a Fisher-specific meld set in the fish cord that Tioto developed that you can use that is really just for folks who only fish. If you're like me, I don't really do much with botany and mining, but I just do stuff with fishing, so I use that meld set on my main. It is more geared for higher GP to hit that threshold. More higher gathering to hit the expected thresholds, and higher GP. It's the max amount, or like max -1. But right now, as long as you have 4450 gathering, you are more than enough set for all the big fish that are available, because we didn't see a gathering requirement raise in patch 7.4, which is the first time that's ever happened. Yeah, Wordnay. Sometimes Glass Herring just steps in and is like, hey, I heard you wanted a coral eel snake. How about me instead? And you just get a Glass Herring, and you're just like, no. I've used Ambitious Lure in the past for this guy, but is it worth it for cures? Yes, it is the recommended way to go for cures now. Cures now? Cures? You will use Ambitious Lure. I want everyone to know, too, that when I was dealing with those mic issues at the start of the stream, I have a backup microphone. It's like a headset that I use from work. And I was literally at the point of, like, maybe my XLR, like, maybe the preamp or the XLR died or something like that, and it's just weird. Let me go pull this out. So while trying to figure this out, while OBS was restarting, I went and pulled out this massive Pelican case that had this headset on, or headset in it, and there's a mess all around me right now that I'll have to fix after the stream. Because that is what work was mailing all these kits around in, and then it was just, here, kit. And so I got to keep the Pelican case. It's really nice. Like, show it, but it's like a really nice Pelican case. It looks like one of those Pelican cases you would see in a movie, where it's like handcuffed to some guy's arm on a train or something like that. It was a free Pelican case, a free preamp, and a free XLR headphone with microphone. So if I ever wanted to get like hella serious with my did I say hella? What is this, 2010? If I wanted to get like really, really serious with voice recording for some of these things, I would probably pull that out instead, because right now I just have like a boom mic with a mic on it. Excuse me. Right now I just have like that, like a boom arm with a mic on it, and that's not good for audio recording because things move, like your body moves around when you talk, so you don't get a consistent audio level. But if you use a headphone, you can fix a mic at a fixed location, and it's better audio quality because it doesn't go in and out, kind of like this. If I've decided to like look over here, it sounds different than if I'm talking into the mic. So there are a few instances when I will decide to pull that out. Oh, that's why that's all weird. All right. At midnight, as my voice starts to die here. Excuse me. At midnight, you're going to cast out, and you're going to use Ambitious Lure up to 3 times. Because we slapped the coral eel snake, and the way that the whole fishing hole is set up, the only other powerful hook set fish are going to be glass herring, which is a strong bite. You will use rest if you ever get a strong bite. And the other bite is cures, which you will use hook to catch. And then you will use spareful hand to store that. And you're just going to repeat the process that we just did until 4 a.m. or until you have 4 cures. Alright, so I'm going to use rest because that was a strong bite. You can use chum. You shouldn't let your GP just sit at full the whole time for this window, but you also don't want to just blow it all, because you need to be able to save GP for prize catch and for a surface slap. So I'm going to be a little bit more judicial with my GP. I'm not going to use chum as much. Yeah, Ruby Dragon's not back for another 16 days. There it is. Now, does it stay? Yes, it does. So whenever you catch that cure, whenever you try and catch a cure, there's a good chance that it's going to slip, or it'll stay. I think it's like a roughly 50-50 chance. So you'll use Spareful Hand, and then at this point, if you want, you can just cast back out. I like to use Prize Catch, and then I'll throw a Thaliax Favor in, just to make sure that I'm not capped out on those Angler's Art stacks, and just repeat. That way, if I get a back-to-back cure, I'm not like hoping that it's a large size. 16 Nexonda. 16. Not 60. Did I say 60? No fish has gone past, well, technically yet, no fish has gone past 40 days. Bob Goblin Bass will go to 39 days this year. No, sorry, 41 days this year. Bob will go on vacation. Next year, we'll see Datnoides aeroplanos, yeah, Latin. It will go on vacation for 48 days next year in 2025. And then there's Purse of Riches, where we don't know what its window is yet, so there's a chance that it could have some downtimes, but it's going to depend on what these expansions are. Which, again, there's one of those tonight. Not 2025, 2026, sorry. Bob goes on the 41-day vacation this year. 2027, Datnoides goes on a 48-day vacation. Purse of Riches current window has a 92-day downtime this year. No, you can spare full hand up to 3. So you can do 3. Don't freak out about the Purse of Riches either. We're still doing expansion testing. So it could be it is almost certainly going to be a much larger window. We just don't know what those other conditions are yet. But we will know within the next, I think within the next 10 days. But no, you can use spare full hand on up to 3 fish. Yeah, okay, no, I don't do GP here. I was considering using GP because it would put me at 5 Angler's Art stacks. I don't want to go below 5 because I want to be able to use makeshift bait. But my cordial was coming off of cooldown, so I'm not too worried about that now. So sorry. You can store up to 3 with spare full hand, but they have to be large sized in order for it to be able to be stored. Damn, I wish I could. I also wish I could take 6 weeks off and just chill. I mean, I guess I could, but then I'd just be unemployed. Alright, so at this point, I have 3 stored cures. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see if I can sneak in another coral eel snake slap without using prize catch, because I only have 400 GP and I would have to have spent 200 for slap, 200 for prize catch, and then I would need another 200 for the cure. So at this point I'm just going to be seeing if I can get a normal coral eel snake, and then I'll use slap and then prize catch and see if I can catch that 4th cure before the end of like the prep window here at 4 a.m. Yeah, I don't know why. I've had only a few windows where I've gotten 3 cures repped, let alone a chance at a 4th. That's okay, they'll all just slip on the first mooch. Alright, there is that. And now I'm just going to go for that last cure. Oh, this should be another bite. I don't think glass herring goes this long. Okay, cool. So I have all 4 ready and prepped. I'm going to use my cordial as soon as it comes off cooldown, which should be around 3 Eorzean time, which will mean that it'll be back up, or almost back up, or almost back up by the time that we start the Ruby Dragon window at 4 a.m. So this is like the most ideal prep that you can get for Ruby Dragon is you have those 3 stored cures, 1 being held with Mooch, and like full Angler's Art stacks. This is like the best setup that you could ask for. I think the only thing that I would hope for would be I'd have higher GP. I don't know if I'll make it to full GP in an hour Eorzea time, but that's okay. Because what I'll do is I will Mooch that first cure, and then I will use makeshift bait afterwards, so I'm not really going to be spending any GP to begin with. I don't need to start spending GP until I probably start messing with the swim baits, where I'll probably just use chum, and then just wait for that first bite, just to kind of speed things up a little bit. While we are waiting for the Ruby Dragon window to open, and I start losing my voice again, I want to... Let me see here. I'm going to run a quick ad break so that we don't get one during the window, and then I'm going to talk about the charity event on Sunday. So, I will be right back with all y'all. For those of you who are subscribed, thank you. Please enjoy your Mora emotes. Also don't have all the things that I want on this. Okay, everyone, welcome back. Thank you for that. So, the window's about to open, and what's going to happen is at 4:01, I am going to mooch my 1 cure, and I'm going to basically reel in any of the ferocious bites that come out, which is all it's going to be. If I have a ferocious bite that is over 25 seconds, we are now in, that's Ruby Dragon territory. Anything past 25 seconds and it's a ferocious bite, that's Ruby Dragon. Anything before that, that's another cure. Both of them can slip. Alright, here we go. That is well before 25 seconds, so it's going to be a cure, and it slips. There's the slip we're looking for. Guess I'll do it again. And you're just going to basically blow these cure as fast as you can. So I was using chum. That's only about a 20-second bite. That still would have been a cure. No, I'm not sweating over that. I have had Ruby Dragon slip on my European alt. I had it slip 3 times before I caught it. which was when I was trying to recreate the guide, I think, for Endwalker. Alright, that was another... This should be another cure. Now, if it is average sized, I'm going to use makeshift bait before mooching, and then actually mooch it. Makeshift bait doesn't break mooching opportunities, unlike Patience or Patience 2, which would have. So you can use it in the middle of a mooch, in the middle of a mooch loop, and just keep it going. That's why we want to have 10 Anglers Art stacks. That gives us, however long that is, 290 seconds of moochable cure. Oh, did we get a catch? We did! Ehrlich, congratulations on catching the Ruby Dragon. Yeah, makeshift bait was a huge, huge game changer, not just for Ruby Dragon, but for all of these mooch fish. That might have been a Ruby Dragon. Anyways, now that we're out of moochable fish, we're going to just go back to what we were doing before 4 a.m. We're going to be using Ambitious Lair. I'm not going to need to use Prize Catch at this point because I still have makeshift bait active. When it runs out, and if I haven't caught a cure by then I would use Prize Catch. Oh, okay. Someone's talking about not seeing ferocious bites, and I just want to make sure I understood. This is, if you don't have the book, you're not going to see cure, and you would have known by now if you didn't have the book. But cure are slippery fish, so they are going to be getting away. Lugubrious Stone, congratulations on that Ruby Dragon as well. I don't know if you can hear my cat. It's getting time for food. And so she's like, okay, well, it's 4 o'clock, which means it's 5 o'clock, which means it's food time. But then again, it'll also be like 3 o'clock, and she'll be like, oh, that's almost 4, which is almost 5. Meaning it's food time. She just likes food. I mean, who doesn't? This should be a cure. And then basically this whole window just goes on until 8 a.m. So the main phases are pre-midnight, which is when you're prepping for cure, midnight to 4 a.m., which is cure gathering, and then 4 to 8 p.m., which is the Ruby Dragon window. Now, same thing as here before. Because that was a large-sized cure, even though makeshift bait wasn't active, I just cast it out, waiting for that first bite, because if I catch it and it's average size, then I'll use makeshift bait. I'm not going to just use makeshift bait willy-nilly when I don't necessarily absolutely need it, so that I can keep those Angler's Art stacks, and I can keep the most duration of that makeshift bait active when I need it. That's another cure, which we're going to be getting a lot of anyways, so shocker. It snowed here today, and the sun's finally out, which means it is bright as hell. Oh, just bouncing off the stuff. Alright, this looks like, yeah, this is gonna be a late cure. It's always 5 o'clock somewhere. Yeah. Usually if she's like, if it's really cold, we might give her like a little snack around now. I think, what, you gave her greenies, right? Yeah, we gave her greenies so that, you know, she brushes her teeth. Keeps her teeth clean. Another cure. Yeah, that's a slip. That's a bummer. But we just keep going at it. We've got another, a little over 3 minutes left. Probably 4-ish? Yeah, 4.5. So, this is one of those things where I see a lot of people, especially on fish, like, say, Ruby Dragon. I think that's the glass herring. On Ruby Dragon, Lopoceros elegans, Sidereal Whale, they'll get near the end of a window, and they'll be like, oh, I only have an hour of Eorzea time left, and they just kind of stop and give up. 1 Eorzea hour is 2 minutes and 55 seconds. That is a lot of time for fishing. That could be anywhere between, I don't know, like 10 to 15 fish potentially, depending on how you work it. See, I've been zoned out fishing in the Diadem. I decided to peruse YouTube in my absent-minded fishing, and lo and behold, I have summoned me. Yes. In moments when you forget to use makeshift bait or patience 2, you just hope to hell that you catch a large size and then you can recover from that. But if not, it happens. These things, they just occur. It's when you get around like X55 or you're just tapped out on resources. There's been a few times when I've gotten into a window where I'm like, there's maybe 30 seconds left, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get anything. That's when I'll drop out. Like when I know that there's just no chance for me to even have an attempt at the fish, then I'll probably dip out. These things just occur. Okay, this is one of those cases where, because I don't have any Angler's Art stacks, I'm going to store that cure really quick. And I'm just going to use Patience 2. This is a neat little way that you can also carry on mooch loops without having Angler's Art stacks. If you have enough GP, you can store the large size fish with swim bait, use Patience 2, preventing the mooch from being cancelled, and then just mooch it out. It's also good because it will, in this particular situation too, I'm able to use Patience 2 to build my Angler's Art stacks back. So if this happens to go on for another minute and a half, I could use makeshift bait afterwards. Oh, congratulations to your friend there. Ayabu, congratulations! Oh, boo. Though at this point, because I know I have less than a minute left, I'm just going to throw all possible resources I have at getting at least one more cure so that I can get one more mooch out, because all it takes is that one mooch. If we get a herring at this point, yeah, no, slap the herring. At this point, it's better to have something slapped than nothing. If your GP can manage it, yep. At this point, too, if I could just do a mooch, like a single mooch too, I would have accepted that as well. Here's Lament. Thank you for that raid. I hope you had a wonderful stream. What were you up to? We're here not getting Ruby Dragon. Alright. Alright, so we are now going to head over to Az's Law. And this is... the window for this fish has already started. But I wanted to include it just because I think it's kind of a fun fish, and it would be a fun little like cooldown from Ruby Dragon. So we're gonna head over to the Habisphere. Let me get that out there for everybody. We're gonna head to Azla to the Habisphere. So make your way to Helix and fly on over. I was introducing a friend to Final Fantasy XIV and making a new character to play with him. Ah! I have a friend who also just started Final Fantasy XIV, and I did not make a new character for them because I already have like 30 some odd characters and I need to delete some. But I also have a friend who just started, and I've been playing with them a bit, and it's been fun because they'll be like, hey, can I do this? And it's also like heartbreaking to just be like, no, you can't, but you can do this instead, and they're just like, oh, that's a little bit better. Oh, I have a bunch on Dynamis here that I need to call out. I made a bunch of just silly named ones. Fun fact: if I didn't go with Fruity Snacks on Dynamis, the character that was going to be leading these fish trains was going to be named Mr. Fish. But I decided not to go with that because I wanted to just stick with my name. I have only caught every single fish in the game 3 times, thank you. A big fish, at least. Only 3 times. Whee! Yeah, another Aetherite would be so nice. Or like Aether net points, like they added in Cosmic at the end. Alright. So we are going to be using Giant Cranefly to go for Crystal Pigeon. Now, Crystal Pigeon, typically for this, you would show up before the window, you would catch a bunch of rudder fish, and then you would mooch those all at the start. Because we just came from the Ruby Dragon window, we're not going to do that. But I am going to show you how to go for rudder fish relatively easily. So, we'll start off by using Patience 2. This is because we're going to be mooching a lot. And then we're basically just going to wait until we get a strong bite. If we don't have a bite by 20 seconds, we are then going to use rest and just cast back out, because at 20 seconds, there's no way that it's going to be a rudder fish. So why wait? Just use rest, go back in. I have already caught one. And then what you would typically do is store it with Spareful Hand and just repeat. So I'm just going to keep doing that a few more times. That's a bit late. After this, I will also show you the other method for getting redder fish that I like. I don't think it's as efficient, but it is cheaper. So I'm not going to be using Ambitious Lure here either. That will mess with bite timing a little bit, and it's really just not necessary. There's just really no need to use Ambitious Lure. Congratulations on that crystal pigeon. Give me another one. Now, for prep here, I forget if I said this earlier. I think I said maybe you'll get some Angler's Art stacks. But in reality, the core thing that you would have to prep here is just rudderfish. If you don't get rudderfish, then, or sorry, if you only got rudderfish during prep, you are fine. You don't really need Angler's Art stacks. You could use makeshift bait a fair bit, but in reality, it's just like not wholly needed because you'll be able to maintain patience too relatively easily. A lot of prep is just making sure that you have enough resources to make the window comfortable for you. So if you need a lot of GP, then yeah, show up and get 10 Angler's Art stacks. But if you don't feel like you need to use that GP all that often, or you don't want it, then don't worry about it. Alright, so that's 3 rudderfish. What you would then do next for this is, with your rudderfish, assuming this was the beginning of the window again, when the window opens, you can use chum, and then you would just cast out with your rudderfish. And you're looking for ferocious bites again. Now, there's a bunch of other ferocious bites that it could be, so it's pretty much you're going to be wanting to reel in all of them. I think any of them, maybe before 20 seconds, I wouldn't. That might just be a Tupa Yakstra or something like that. But see, you can still get it pretty easily. I shouldn't be saying you get it pretty easily because that's not fair. It isn't an uncommon bite, but it is a bite that is shared by other fish, so you might get kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Psyched out. Basically, the longer the bite is, the more likely it is to be crystal pigeon, but if it goes too long, it could be something else. Am I just gonna grab 2 or 3 of these in a row? Mr. Fish is an amazing name. I still have that character. It's a Lalafell. But they're like level 3 or something. Fun fact, when I first started playing this game 11 years ago now, see, this might not be a crystal pigeon. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll never know. When I first started playing this game a few years ago, by a few, I mean almost a decade ago now, over a decade ago, my first character was a Lalafell, because I didn't take the game very seriously, and I still don't take the game very seriously. But I was just like, I want to be the goofiest character possible, and the Lalafell were just the most goofy I could be. Okay, hold on. Don't hey now me. Please tell me that I'm not... Are you going to tell me that I'm not correct in saying that Lalafell are goofy? Very wary, seriously. Get out of here with your Final Fantasy XI references. Alright, so for those of you who are maybe limited on scripts, or you're like rushing to catch fish and you just don't have a chance to pick up giant crane flies, and you don't want to buy them off the market board because they're always priced so high, you can use Metal Spinner. With Metal Spinner, Sky Fairy is a 100% chance to bite, and when you mooch a Sky Fairy, you have a chance to get a rudderfish. And it's a decent rate, too, if I remember correctly. It's something like 80%? Yeah, 85-ish% chance of getting a rudderfish. So more often than not, you're going to get a rudderfish. So you can use that as an advantage of being, like, economical with your bait and your script if you need to. But I'm probably going to do this, and it's going to be not. It's going to be like the 50% chance that it's not a rudderfish. Knowing my luck. No, this is a Sky Sweeper. But if it was cooperating with me, you can guarantee bites of the Sky Fairies with Metal Spinner, and then you can basically have a slightly higher chance of getting a rudderfish than if you were straight catch, at the cost of just taking extra time. So it takes longer, but it's a longer window, so maybe that's okay. At this point, though, you're probably going to be using Giant Crane Fly anyways, because you should probably have a bunch of it. Check 5, thank you for the follow-up. Holy, what the... Dr. Tonberry, thank you for 20 gift subs. What the hell? Hold on, who got these? Let me cool my ears off here for a second, but thank you so much. No, thank you so much, Dr. Tomberry. Congratulations to Lava Worm Slain, Character W2, Shiratix, Rock Manville, hi Rock Manville, Blue Stick, Michael VD, Philippi GM, Apple Soda, Wriggle Knight, Ignaria, Marcus the Fisher, app name, Ayabu, Zip Pow, V-Mimi, Sleeping Blue Jay, TRM Shadow, Gazer Spiral, Strel, Kimalicious, and Nixandra Tora. Thank you so much, Doc, for that. And congratulations, everyone, to your sub. Please enjoy your Mamora Mora emoji, made by the ever so wonderful Fox Snyder. Hey, you guys are really helpful. Thank you so much. I'm going to start off with the weather chains for Shoni and Helicoprian. Thank you. You're welcome, Haven Birch. I have noticed that Shoni and Helicoprian have been on some downtimes recently, because I had to go catch that on an alt. And I was like waiting like 4 or 5 days for Shoni, which is really long for Shoni. But thank you again to you both. What was I doing? Right, I remember. I was fishing. I was going for crystal pigeons with Metal Spinner. Yeah, so you can use Metal Spinner, guarantee the Sky Fairies, which can then mooch into Rudderfish. So I've already goofed this up because I didn't open with like makeshift bait or patience 2, but I can use makeshift bait to recover. One thing when you're dealing with multi-chain mooches is know when you have to have a large size, because if you're like running out of resources, if you don't need a large size, like say I don't necessarily need a large size rudderfish, I just need a large size sky fairy, and I only had say 200 GP left, I could use that to my advantage and use prize catch, get the sky fairy, and that's the only large size I need. So it always helps when you're dealing with resource management to look at what you need in the future, which sounds very obvious, but like look at what you need in the future and then decide, you know, how can I minimize the amount of resources that I need? And you'll find that that's going to be useful on fish like Stephacanthus, any of the heavy mooch fish. You don't really need to be mooching. You don't need large size rock salt fish on Stephacanthus all the time. If mooch 2 is, you can save 200 GP right away and not spend it. Oh, dress up, yeah, Mr. Fish as an Amazu. I might work on him someday. He probably won't be touched until 8.0 at minimum, because I have my OCE alt that I'm working through all the big fish on, and then I have my what's the word? My JP alt. That's it. Who has to now go through Endwalker as well, now that I just got my OCE alt through Endwalker. At least the base of it. Alright, there's 6 minutes left in this window. And then we're going to head into our final fish. But before we wrap this window up, and as I'm fishing, I do want to tell everyone about an upcoming event next Sunday, not tomorrow, a week from tomorrow, on January 25th. I'm going to be hosting a charity event from 7 a.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern, so 13 hours. What we will be doing throughout that is playing a ton of fishing games. We're going to be opening the first 5 hours of the stream from 7 to noon is going to be a fish train on Materia. Then for an hour after that, we'll be playing Cast and Chill, and then we will be playing Team Crafter, and then we'll be playing Dave the Diver, and then we'll be ending the charity event with Denmo McStronghuge, and we'll be doing a housing tour. A bunch of housing tours, and I don't know what other shenanigans he's been cooking up. He told me he was going to do something, and I was like, that's a cool idea, and now I don't know what he's doing, but it's going to be fun. And then at the start, we are going to Quisty from Materia is also going to be joining us for that fish train as well. We're going to be raising money for the Coral Reef Alliance, which is a nonprofit that helps educate and deal with conservation of the coral reefs all around the world. And I should probably use this. There we go. And then finally, for those of you who are interested, we have a bunch of donation incentives from some sponsors. We have 2 keys for Team Crafter, the game. Those keys are for Steam, and they will get you immediate access to the closed beta and launch when it launches in early access later this year. We have 2 signed copies of the Final Fantasy XIV Volume 2 cookbook, and the big ticket item is the Final Fantasy XIV fish-themed Mahjong set, 3D printed. Weighs really nice. It weighs about the same as a normal Mahjong set, but it'll be that was 3D printed by Jazzy, and that'll be like there's one of those that you can go. So each donation over a certain amount enters into a giveaway. You will be able to choose which items you want to go for. Oh yes, yes, yes. And the design, the design and art for the tiles was by Vidofnir. So if you are feeling generous, swing by on this channel again a week from tomorrow, and you know, maybe throw a little bit of money to the Coral Reef Alliance, and maybe you get something out of it. Maybe it'll be fun. I'm setting up Mortimer to. You can actually do it now if you're on Twitch. Mortimer will be able to spit fish facts. We'll have the fish game running. I have a bunch of funny little stretch goals set up. So, for example, if we happen to raise $5,000, I may buy that sunfish sweater that everyone has been linking me over the past 3 days. Again, for the past year. I may buy that little sunfish sweater and I may wear it to FanFest if we can make $5,000.
Like catfish and Namazu, sturgeons feature whisker-like sensory barbels on their snoots.
Yes, they do. What was the other one? Oh, if we hit $50,000 in that fun, in a amazing world, if we somehow hit $50,000 raise, Denmo McStrong Huge says that he will catch 100 big fish for the Master Caster title, and he does not like fishing. So if you want to watch Denmo McStrong Huge suffer, raise money. Hi, Mistletoe. Yeah, no, make him fish. Every time he sees me and I'm on Fisher, he just runs away. And I'm like, don't run away. I'm not gonna chase you. I did have a Mahjong stream on what was it the other day? Wednesday? Tuesday? But all the info for that was in the charity command. Let me say that one more time. And put that in YouTube for you all. That will be happening a week from tomorrow. So you'll be able to join. There will be a fish train all morning. And then in the afternoon we'll have some indie games. And we'll have special guests. And it'll be fun. Oh no, I'm getting a suspected spam call. Again. Bavarius, thank you for that follow. I've been sent here from a friend that enjoys fishing and I'm looking to get into it finally. Well, welcome. If you want to get into fishing, you've come to the right place. Now, here's the question. Are you getting into fishing because you're interested, or are you getting into fishing because your friend won't shut up about it and you want them to? This is a very important distinction. Did I just end up with only 2 crystal pigeons this whole time? I did. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the window has closed. Just missed that. Alright, we have one last stop on our train. But we only have, 8 minutes to get there, so don't rush. We are heading here. We are heading to Central Thanalan. We are going to go for Slime King. I need this title that requires big fishing. Which title are you thinking of? Slime King. Can I dive down here? Oh no, I'll have to go around. That's fine. Wave walk. Okay. There are worse big fish titles you could go for, so don't worry too much about that. You got some nasty little guys in there that you'll have to catch, but it isn't that bad. It could be worse. You could want big fish, or even final fish. Let me get you something that I think will help you. Let's see here. Oh. Gosh, I wish YouTube was not as crappy with this. Title Walker. There. Alright, don't freak out over the fact that there's 76 videos in this. You don't need all of them. But that playlist right there for you, Wavarius, that has a guide on how to catch every big fish in Endwalker to get the Wave Walker title. So you would start with whatever, I think it's Rime Pike, and then just follow through that whole thing. That'll tell you exactly how you want to catch it. How to catch everything. I think that's everything. I think I did everything for Endwalker. Yeah, Wave Walker is all of Endwalker. Okay. Let me grab crayfish balls. So you're going to want crayfish balls. So starting with your crayfish balls, you're going to want to go ahead and just cast out, and I don't think there's really any bad slap here. Just catch any of the weak bites, which is those 1 exclamation points. Just catch whatever comes around. Use surface slap, chum, and then wait until the window opens. So I'm going to take that brass loach, I'll use surface slap, I'll use chum, and now I'm just going to stand here and wait. A lot of fishing is about prep. I see a lot of people will be like, I'm struggling on these fish. And when I ask, like, hey, why, like, what are you doing ahead of time? It's like, oh, they're showing up like 30 seconds before the window opens. Or they're running out of GP, or they're not using their GP well, or they're not, like, using their cordials. A lot of fish can be made way easier if you just show up 10 minutes early and do a few extra things. Slime King is one of these fish where, you just show up, catch a fish, you slap it, and you wait for your full GP, and now you have a ton of GP that you can use for chum, and makes it a whole lot, just, you're not waiting as long. Fish like Sidereal Whale, you need to show up early, you want to prep those Horizon events. Same thing like what we did with the Ruby Dragon. We showed up 10 minutes early, and we were fishing the entire time. But you needed those first 10 minutes to get those Angler's Art stacks and that Coral Eel slap to really set you up for the rest of the window. Why does everyone have the same pet? You mean the Spriggans? Oh yeah, no, these are local mobs. These are all Spriggans. They just live here. I had so many big fish windows nerfed by DDoS that thankfully that there are only a handful left. I almost, when it started getting real bad, hold on, when's the window? Alright, 3 minutes until the window. It opens at 1900 or 7 p.m. for those of you not in 24-hour time in-game. Yeah, when the DCs were happening at 7.4, I was maybe a couple hours away from making a guide on how to fish effectively when you keep DCing. Like, what happens when you're fishing, when you DC, how can you mitigate potential risk, those types of things. I had a rough outline together, and I ended up not making it because it didn't feel right to make. But I did have some notes on like, here's how you can handle fishing while disconnecting. I have advice for people considering big fishing. Don't, unless you have intrinsic motivation. You're not that far off. I think when it comes to fishing, you want to make sure that you're doing it because you want to. If you go into fishing not wanting to, you're going to hate it. And you're like, well, duh, Fruity, that makes sense. No, fishing is one of those things where what you put into it, you get out in terms of just like enjoyment. So if you go into it thinking, I'm just going to chill and have a good time and hang out with some Spriggan while I'm, fishing in a canyon, it makes it a way better than I'm going to get this fish just to check off the list or else I'm going to be like really angry. The people who just go in are like, I'm just here to check off a list and not just sit and enjoy like the world that you're in and the things that are going on and just hang out with people like we're doing now. They typically have less enjoyment of fishing. So yeah, Union of Darkness, that's actually, it doesn't sound like good advice, but it's actually very, very good advice. See, literally, I started leveling my off classes to get rid of armor so I had room for bait. Inventory management is a thing that you have to have. So I went to a fishing panel at Anime Los Angeles the other weekend, and they mentioned the 4 horsemen of the fishing apocalypse. Do you know of this and what they are? I know of the panel that happened. I don't know what they said the 4 horsemen were, because I would presume that it's about like 6. All right, the window's opening. So as we pass the hour, go ahead and cast out. Don't use the lures, though. It's not really going to provide much of a benefit for you. So just cast out and just wait for a bite. If it's a ferocious bite, try and reel it in. If it's not a ferocious bite, use hook. Or rest. Sorry. If it's not a ferocious bite, use rest. Now, I can say this now that I've had it slip. Slime King is notorious for slipping. So, if it gets away, don't fret. It just happens. Anyways, Zephyrin, back to your question. Okay, I'm just gonna get another bite. Fine. Alright, the 4 horsemen of the fishing apocalypse. My guess is it's going to be the big 3, so Cinder Surprise, Aelid Scam, Ruby Dragon. That 4th one, though, is Val. Why am I getting 3 of these in a row? Holy crap. The 4th one is up for debate, because it could be Lancetfish, it could be Sidereal Whale, it could be Furcicata. Thank you, Weak Bite, for that. It could be Snowy Paraxis. I've had some people do that. It could be Stethocanthus. So I don't know who the 4th one is. I don't know if the panel actually listed them all out. We could do the ocean boat after this. I have enough time that I could probably do the ocean boat really quick. See, my 4 horsemen are Lancet, 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 and for some variety, Lancet. A lot of people were mad at Snowy when it came out, though. I remember the Endwalker legendary debacle very, very well. The amount, oh my gosh. I will, if you're in the fish court and whale ever comes up, you probably see me mention how bad the fish court got with sidereal whale. Like, it was, the moderators almost put slow mode on certain channels an hour before and an hour after sidereal whale windows because it was just that bad. It's not that bad anymore. I think most people have kind of chilled to it a bit. But it was rough. Anyways, this window is open for another 11 minutes. So we will see how many Slime King bites we can get. I'd be unsurprised if Lancetfish is my final fish. So here's the thing that a lot of people seem to miss with fishing. You can make any fish your final fish. There's no, like, set order you have to follow. You could make, like, Bobgoblin Bass your last one. I made, on one of my ults, I made the Cheergin. Or, like, Old Softy. It was one of those crayfish. I made them one of my the final fish I got for the title. Because I could. There's no I don't have to leave Lancetfish for the end. There's the whole, like, yeah, well, you want to get as many opportunities in there to get it, but also, if it's always up, you're not really missing anything if it's going to be up all the time. So just save some easy fish for the end. Don't leave, like, Cinder or Lancet or Scon as one of your final fish, because you're just going to be, like, clawing your hair out. Cornelia, very fun fish to leave it on. I love Cornelia. But if you're gonna go to all the Lancet windows you can, save some of those, like, easy fish until you're done. Until you catch Lancet. I know that when I was going for Lancet on one of my ults, I was stuck there for like 6 weeks. And I was just like, I'm not going to catch any other fish until I catch Lancet. And I still had maybe half the Shadowbringers fish left. Yes, that is kind of the counterpoint. That if you save one of those, like, big fish, like Cinder or Ruby or Scon, it makes it really exciting when you catch it. But if you're the type of person who isn't really thrilled with having to fish or isn't super patient, you may just want to leave one of those, like, little extra ones left, because you can just have that mental knowing of, I can get this whenever I'm done. Like, you can choose when you get the title versus hoping that Cinder Surprise bites on your 20th window. What I'm learning about this train is that I'm bad at marking things off on Carbuncle. Yes. Oh, hey, there we go. And there is Slime King. I lost track of how many bites. I think that was 7. Yeah, Carby, Someone was mentioning the other day they might be making a PR to your thing to add like local profile storage so you can have multiple like characters going at once. I don't know if you saw that in chat, but someone was mentioning that they were gonna look into making a PR about that. So that it just saves all of the fish per profile or something. I don't know. I don't know your code base, so I'm not gonna say. I didn't say anything one way or the other. I was just gonna leave that to them to discover. Wait, how many fish did we pick up? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We picked up 5 fish. I didn't get. I mean, we missed sea hag because. Meh. 1, 2. How many fish do we have today? 10. 5, 6, 7, 9. We technically caught Cure. We didn't catch Ruby. We didn't catch... What didn't we catch? Soul the Martyr and Sea Hag. Those are the only 2 fish we didn't catch, and Ruby. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. I totally forgot to slap that. Oh, no, I also cleaned my inventory up earlier before this. This, though, is cleaner than I usually have, but I'll typically have maybe like these bottom 2 rows, maybe bottom 3 rows worth of stuff randomly just filled, and a lot of the time I just forget to empty things out. But no, I'm also like... I will clean this out because this is a lot for me. I try not to have a really busy inventory. Can we go over the back-to-back? Nope. Slime King isn't returning my calls. So I've been grinding gold groupers, and I just have 2 inventory pages open for it. My first page is typically full of like miscellaneous stuff. Potions, food, and tickets. Yeah, I usually keep food. Like most of my stuff on my main is mostly just food at this point. I also don't raid, so I don't have to deal with like multiple types of food for like multiple classes. I just I misclicked. I just have a ton of food for various forms of gathering. I think I have a GP food, I have a gathering food, I have a perception food, and that's it. My cordials. Alright, 3.5 minutes left in this window. It's going to run all the way to midnight. Teamcraft has been helping with not over-farming resources. Yeah, I've used their lists before a few times. Anyways, for those of you who have already caught Slime King, we have no more fish after this. You are welcome to go and be on your merry way. If you want to stick around on Dynamis, I think at the top of the hour I'll do one like ocean fishing route. I don't even know what is going on for ocean fishing here. Stone scale. Hey Zin, you want to go for ocean fishing? I forget if I caught stone scale already. If you enjoyed this fish train, now that I've started sorting out how things are going to be working, I'm going to be doing these more often, probably on weekends, at least especially during the winter here. So keep an eye out for those. You might see them maybe sometime in the evenings on the week during the weekdays. But if you enjoyed this, please follow me on the various social channels that I'm on. And you'll get announcements usually no more than 24 hours in advance. I think this one I put up, what was it, 6-7 hours in advance, something like that, 5-6 hours in advance. But I'll be doing more of these now that I have sort of figured out what is wrong with my recording. Or I may just give up. I may just say all the guides are going to be lived in bookmarked. They're just going to live in bookmarked stream VODs instead of making individual ones. I may just do that. That's kind of what I've been thinking, because it's been a pain in the butt trying to get this to work. I don't even know if it did. I was recording all of this during the stream, and I'll find out afterwards if the recordings worked. But we're going to do ocean fishing really quick after this, and then we will, and then I think that'll probably be it for the day, but we'll do ocean fishing here after this window. I'm going to see if I can catch another Slime King. I'll put a PF up for ocean fishing as well if you're still on Halicarnassus. You can join, any level is fine as long as you have ocean fishing unlocked. Yeet. Nope, I'm not good with that casting. Oh well. Alright, let me put up a PF for that. There's a hunt train on Halicarnassus right now, Zen. Alright, this is an open public one, so anyone can join. You went to the one on Zolera. Alright, so if you are going to go ocean fishing and you want to go for the Fabled Legend fish, I'm also going to save a spot for Zin because they said that they were going to come in, so if we fill up a little quicker, I'm going to end it. What are we at? 5? But if you want to go ocean fishing, you can go to Limsa and go down to the Arcanist Guild, go to the vendor there, buy krill, plump, and ragworm, and then run back to Hawker's Alley and talk to the Fieldcraft trader there and buy some rat tails. Which I think I have, I do. Ooh, that's fun. Congratulations. Yeah, drop that. Try to grab that. I'm gonna sell all those things eventually. Alright, 2 more slots. You don't have to be on Halicarnassus, you just need to be somewhere in Dynamis if you want to save some time. See, those were Heaven's Word fish. I've been doing this all day, going to turn in collectibles by going to the Script Exchange. Oh, take my 15 purple script and my... Oh, those are 18? Really? Nice. Alright, cool. There's 8 of us. Alright, make sure you have your rat tails. I'm going to do a really quick bio break once I get down here. And then we will queue, so you have a little bit of time. Clean up your inventories. Make space in your inventories. And then we'll be good to go. Alright, so everyone has a minute. I will be right back. Back. Do I have all my bait? I do. Shrimp check. I need everything birds. Do you have everything birds? That is not everything birds. We are working on strategy boards for ocean fishing. If you are interested, first off, Aristotle, thank you for the rating with everybody. I hope you had a wonderful stream. Philosopher raid. Hello everyone, my name is Fruity Snacks. I am a fish main. My brain stopped working there. I've been fishing for like hours. I'm a fisher main here in Final Fantasy XIV. And we are going to be doing some ocean fishing here in a minute. So thank you all for coming on in. Oh, I'm getting a bunch of these shared. There it is. My favorite. Everything birds. Fruity is a fish. Oh, that's cute. I think we're gonna go for stone scale. That's what I'm working on. Make sure I'm in English. I am, okay. I'm looking at the chat right now so you can see all this stuff and you can go to a wedding. Could. Drop the... Everything Namazu strapboard. Oh, that I will eventually want to see. Hey, we haven't had disconnections in a while. Like, we've had a good week or two without any DCs. I've actually seen the strategy board used, though, for actual strategy. I've seen some streamers use it. I've seen a few other folks who are totally just using it for the intended purpose. But, okay, this is technically a strategy. This is a strategy. Belly squad. Some random dude just walked up to our door and he's just shoveling for us. Right over and send love your visit definitely helped with locking down big chain 3 ocean fish. Oh, well, good luck on your ocean fishing. Thank you. I will take the best care that I can of your group. Ah! Jump scared. Throw that out there too. Thank you everyone for coming in again. My name is Fruity Snacks. I fish. That's it. What do we got? Alright, so we are in Sildalis. Sildalis? Keeldalis? Anyways, we're starting with Ragworm. So something I do when I go ocean fishing, and I picked this up from like Tioto and some other folks, I always open, on the Indigo route specifically, I will open with Patience 1, just to get a few Anthers art stacks going and rolling, and that's about it. I think it's different on the Ruby route, but I haven't looked into it too much. I've been mostly focusing on Indigo now. I guess the other thing I can mention too is, again, next Sunday, so a week from tomorrow, I'm hosting a charity event here on this channel where we're going to be playing fishing stuff all day. We're going to be opening with a 5-hour fish train, then we're going to be playing a bunch of fishing indie games, and at the end of the day we're doing something with Denmo McStrong Huge where we will be, I think it's a housing tour. We're doing a housing tour and I think it's going to be fish themed. I don't know if that's 100% the case. But it's going to be a housing tour at the end of the day with Denmo. It's going to be fun. So if you are interested in learning more about that, you can check out this card for the Fishers of Light charity event that's happening on the 25th. We'll be benefiting the Coral Reef Alliance. There's also some really fun donation incentives if you are interested in indie games, cooking, or mahjong. Do I want to go... Is this a magic? That's a food reload. I guess I'll just go for Titan Shells. Do you get a spec? Oh no, maybe I can go for Manta instead. They're not that far off in points, and I need Ferocious Bites. just looking at something here really quick. But when we get a spec, I'm going to swap to Plumpworm. Because I have the Ferocious Bite mission, and those are going to be really easy Ferocious Bites to get off of Jetborn Manta. So I'll switch over to those to knock that out, because literally one bite of that I can knock out two voyage missions. And it'll be the Fugu one that'll be a little rough. We have the Rothlet Sound, which is full of Fugu, so maybe it won't be that hard. Switch over, because I don't think I have the Geode. No, I do not have the Geode, so I'm going to switch to Krill. Oof. Butterfly slip. I know, when there's two other Ferocious Bites in here, it's easy to get faked out by them. I haven't caught a lot of the, like, when I was leveling this guy with ocean fishing, I was expecting to catch more of the intuition fish, and I didn't. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I even told myself I was going to do it, is link Blue Sky to my channel. See what happens if I do this. Is it permanent, or is it going live for... Oh, that's fun. Cool, that's cool. I meant to look at that, because Blue Sky just added that feature where it's like, oh yeah, go live. I didn't realize how that would work. That's fun. I'll have to add that to my list of startup things. Okay, so we are past 130 left, which means we are not going to be getting a Spectral Current, which is okay, because that just means we have a higher chance of getting one in the Rotano Sea, and it's going to be longer. It'll be 3 minutes instead of 2, and that's great, because that's where Stone Scale is. Alright, so for Spectral Current rocking in the next one, we're going to go with Plumpworm. Ooh, been staring at fish too long today. A Plumpworm. How do you only have 186 GP Lux? Oh, I thought you meant 186 max GP. And I was like, how did you manage that? Hey Fruity, did you know Orchifon's family doesn't hire full-time workers, they only hire 4 temps. Thanks. That one is going to be stuck in my head. Nope, that cannot hum that high. Again, Plumpworm for Spectral Bass is preferred. The thing that a lot of people don't realize when they are ocean fishing is when baits get called out, it is not exclusive. It's just like the preferred or ideal bait. Spectral Bass can be caught on all of those basic ocean fishing baits, but it just prefers Plumpworm. Flannering, have a wonderful dinner. See you next time. Thank you for joining. I hope you had a good time. Enjoy your evening. It's always the scuffed runs that are always the best. Cannot say the amount, cannot tell you the amount of times that I have had a scuffed run, and I'm like, this is the one where I'll catch it, and then I have to somehow edit around the scuffness. I missed that one. I love how also the strategy board is just bringing back all these old memes. I just want a Spectral Current. I want Zin to have an actual chance at the Stone Scale. I'm gonna be real disappointed if we only get one spec. It is the only Ocean Fisher mission. Ocean Fisher mission. Long bite. See, I like it when I get long bites on ocean fishing boats, because if no one else is casting, then I think I'm DCing. But if everyone else is casting, I know we're fine. Ah. Never mind. Alright, we're gonna speedrun this. Zin, you pulled the spec, you have to get it now. Alright, so ragworms for silencers, plumpworms for eels. Poppy 14. Poppy Final Fantasy 14. Thank you for that follow. Ooh, that might be a barramundi. This is going to go to the end of the window, so... At least you got an int. You are swapping to stone scale, right? Or to rat tail, right? Okay. I have to ask. You know I have to ask. We just get one bite. Nope. Okay. Unlikely to get that in swap. So do this. No, not in 5 seconds. No way, no. I'll get a bite, but it's not going to be a deep sea. We don't even have a chance. Oh wait, Zin, you got it! Let's go! You did it! You finally... Oh. I heard the yes. And... Oh. Whoops. Sorry. My bad. Well, that int was cut short, so we'll get the remainder of the time if we get an intuition in the next zone here. True. You're right. I would have seen that. Yeah, so with spectral currents, it used to not be that way. If you watched like guides or read guides from when it first came out, ocean fishing first came out, it didn't work this way. By the way, it's plumpworm for spec. But they later changed it so that if you go into a zone and you do not get a spectral current, you have a higher chance of getting a spectral current in the next zone, and it's longer. So it's 3 minutes instead of 2. If you get a spectral current and it is cut short by the zone ending, the remaining time is tacked on to the next spectral current you get, minus or up to 3 minutes. So a spectral current can be can never be longer than 3 minutes. But if you get a spectral current and at like 1 minute 30 left, that 30 seconds that you would get when it ends at that 1 minute you will get at 30 seconds when it ends will be added on to the next spectral current that you get in the next zone. But if it gets cut off, you don't get the higher chance at it. It's only when there is no spectral current is the next zone going to give you a higher chance. With my ferocious bites, I was hoping for that first zone spec. I guess I could line triple hook a Vidofnir shark. That would get me that, but I still need Fugu. 28-second weak bite. I could do that, but. gonna swap the krill to go for pearl bombfish. I'm just gonna go. We're just gonna go crazy for points here. These guys are at 5-6 seconds, and they're strong bites. But you have to be really careful because you could easily confuse them with like the smooth jaguar that I just got. And that's it. So you have to watch your timers. My timers are not, my macro timers are not set up for ocean fishing right now, so I'm kind of just going off my gut feeling of, man, it's been about 5 seconds, right? We can go for a trollfish, I guess. Not that it's gonna help me too much. We do need a pearl bombfish, though, to easily finish the Fugu mission. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish the ferocious bite one. That's going to be tough. Yeah, I'm not feeling like we're going to get the bombfish that I need. That's going to be annoying for points. Yeah, I'm just going to be getting souls. Get the smooth jaguar. Another grape soul. I'm just gonna rest these now. I don't need them. I'm just trying to maximize my bites. Swear. Never eating flounder again. That might have been a smooth jaguar. I wasn't paying attention. I looked over. No. Oh well. Didn't get any points out of that. That's gonna be. This'll be rough. I don't think I am going to do great. I'll maybe just throw a chum out and then hopefully either get like a honeycomb fish. I guess. Or a Vidofnir. Yeah. Last one. Actually, even if we get a honeycomb fish here, it's not gonna. We're not gonna reel it in time. So I'll just take whatever this is and we'll call it a day. That's unfortunate, but that's sometimes how it is with fishing. Not my best boat. Alright. So I think that's going to be it for right now. Thank you everyone for coming. Ocean fishing? I didn't even look at where I stood on that. It wasn't a great boat for me, but thank you everyone for joining me on that. But despite those technical issues at the beginning, I think we had a pretty good run today. So, closing out, thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this fish train and you want to learn about more, you can follow me on these social media places. YouTube is my big one, Blue Sky is my other good one, and obviously here on Twitch. Again, as a reminder, on January 25th, I will be hosting a charity stream here on this Twitch channel for the Coral Reef Alliance. We will be doing fishing all day. We will be doing fish-related games. There will even be a fish train, much like the one today, with some surprises. So be sure to check that out. You can get all the information you need on the card there, and I will be posting some other information that you will need to know this week on my social media as well. So thank you to everyone again for watching. Congratulations again to all the subscribers. Please enjoy your Mora Mora emotes. I hope you have fun and spread the good word of the Mora Mora. If you are on Twitch, hang around. If you are on YouTube, thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.